we want to talk about how to avoid common mistakes when booking corporate groups. And this focus on the corporate groups is, again, coming from this mindset that tour operators spend a little too much time focused on tourists. That when we break down, when we look at some of the lifetime value behind who we're trying to win, is that we have one customer who may buy 4 tickets, doesn't live in the area, and never comes back, versus the person who may book 30 people, book a second experience next year, and refer a colleague because they're that corporate group. And it's the difference between going after a $400 client or a $9,000 client. And so this is where we like this idea of going after these bigger groups, having more stability, they're easier, they're more fun. And so I want to tell you some of the things that we've seen that we've tours have been doing about how to correct some of these mistakes. So we are going back to the Family Feud board. I was real close to finding the music for Family Feud to see if I could actually get a little do-do-do. I didn't, I couldn't find it. But let's jump in. Number 8, the big thing that we see is not selling groups as a second experience. And so what we mean by this, or sorry, not selling groups a second experience. So it's that follow-up of after they've taken one tour, do you have an automated email campaign going out? Are you following up with those people to say, hey, we want to book again next year? Do we have something in the system that says 9 months after they finish the tour, let's have an email automatically go out that says, hey, do you want to book again in 3 months? So this idea of getting out there, getting proactive and making sure that anyone we've already spent the time to bring in the door, we can then get more of that lifetime value and more opportunities out of them. Another big mistake we see are unprofessional looking proposals. And that for corporate groups, there's some people that they'll just send it through email and just like, hey, here's the breakdown, here's the pricing. It's just one big email. And for corporate, we know that that stuff's going to get passed around. It may not always be one person making the decision. And so we want to make sure we have a professional looking proposal that may get shared between other people in the organization. That professional looking proposal is part of the perceived value. When we talk about perceived value, it means how much someone thinks your tour is worth. And so if we just send them over an email with a few bullet points and a price, that's different than receiving a nice proposal that has pictures on it and helps them understand a little more about what they're getting. So definitely take a look at the proposals. One of the systems we recommend for that is a system called Proposify. And you can take a look at there, real easy to keep stuff going. I know a few people here use Proposify as well. I see Midgie shaking her head over there. So that's a big one. Next up, selling public tours as private events. And there's so many times that we've seen tour companies just take what they're already doing and just translate that over. But corporate tours, these are different. These are different. There's different value that you're fulfilling for them. There's a problem that they have that you have the solution for. And this is why we kind of push tours to talk. I want you to get on the phone, talk to these corporate groups, find out what they need, find out what problem they're having. And then let's figure out how we're creating the event specifically for them. And that comes with an upcharge, that comes with the cost for your time to do some of this. So those private and corporate groups should be costing a little more as well, and shouldn't be just that one-to-one switch over. Next one. Oh, this one is so simple. Just not asking for referrals. If you are looking for an immediate hit to some corporate business, go back through any past groups you've worked with and just ask. Just ask. Do you know anyone else that may enjoy our experience? Is there anyone else you could reference or recommend that may enjoy our experience? And you will be amazed at some of the answers you get. So if you haven't gone through and specifically just asked for referrals yet, this will be another big one that we see. Not using email to promote groups. Email in general is a big thing that we see a lot of tour companies not taking advantage of. If you need help with email, please reach out. Let us know. We can help you get on the right track with some email stuff. But not using that email to promote the groups. We want to be able to get some of that message out there. We want to be able to talk about, hey, we have these groups available as well. Getting down to the end here, number 3, from the third one, forcing payments through ResTech. Oh, ResTech is just not equipped for corporate and private groups yet. Maybe they'll catch up in a few years, but for this, we kind of encourage our clients to go through and look at something like Stripe. Look at some of these external payment processors that you may make it easier to just collect that down payment. We had a whole thing about pricing structures in a previous town hall, and there's some tours that don't charge until afterwards. There's some that take a deposit. And so whatever you choose to do there, just look at some of those ways to make it easier for people to get that money over to you. Two left. Number 2, not capturing the email address of each guest. With a lot of corporate bookings and private groups, we only get the email address of the person that actually booked it, which then leaves 20, 30 people that were on that experience that we're not remarketing to and reselling to. So I want you to look at capturing the email address of everyone on that tour. We help some of our clients do it through digital guidebooks that they give the digital guidebook at the beginning of the tour. Everyone types in their email address to access that digital guidebook. And now we have the email address of everyone on that tour. And that lets us put them inside the CRM, remarket to them, hopefully, not hopefully, but maybe they leave their job, go to a new company, spawns new opportunities for us. So much in that email capturing opportunity. Whew. Finally, number one, then we're going to the group discussion here. The number one thing that we see is just no page for corporate groups. There's nothing that has the conversation that we want to have with a corporate group. So the big change that's happened in websites is websites used to be a digital store. And this made sense. This is where it came from. You're not going to visit our physical store, visit our digital store. And this is how websites progressed through the early 2000s, through the early 2010s. But we're starting to see now is that the best converting websites are less of a store and more of a digital salesperson. And so this is where with that corporate groups page, it's a sales conversation that page is having with someone. It's a one-sided conversation. It is only the page talking to Chris. When Chris lines up there, it's just talking to him one-sided. If Chris says something back to that web page, no one's going to hear it. But what that conversation is that's going out, we want to be very particular about. Are we talking about the problem we solve for them? Are we talking about how you solve it? Are we giving them information around budgets or timelines, whatever else they may need? And so we want to have that page specifically to talk about the benefits of your experience with corporate groups, not just a general private events page that says, we also do corporate groups. And the big reason for this is I want to get some of your value-based bullet points in there that talk about the specific value you're bringing to that corporate side. Do we need to put the word team building in there? Like, oh, let's slap team building on there and watch corporate tours just say, yeah, we need team building. We'll pay more for that. And so I want that page specifically for corporate groups.